These things run contrary to the intrinsic nature of your soul when you attempt to force yourself to do something you're not meant to do. Now, the reason why I say why this is because you are attempting to do something that feels uncomfortable to you. This is where your conflict arises within you because you're feeling one way, but you're actually trying to project the facade of you feeling an absolute opposite way. And you have to understand something. You're entitled. Let me say this again. You, my friend, are entitled to honor your feelings and respect your emotions, no matter what they may be. You must let energy be expressed to its fullest potential in the physical. You cannot repress these things or internalize them or suppress them, because what happens is they wind up becoming sedentary and stagnant. And then that just runs all over every area of your life. And eventually, that 8 ounces that you pounded down into 1 ounce, it's going to start to rise up because these things propagate and they have to be released because you refuse to address it. And when you play pretend games with yourself and being disingenuous and dishonest with yourself and untruthful, that's when the universe comes back around to bite you right in the rump. Because these energies should have never been internalized in the first place. And you need to express yourself honestly in every second of your life. So if something is making you unhappy, don't pretend like you're happy. If somebody's really ticking you off, don't pretend like you're okay with their behavior. If somebody's disrespecting you, don't pretend like, it's okay. Because you teach people how to treat you. Remember that. And also, you teach yourself how to treat yourself. What happens for you outside yourself, there's no difference between you inside yourself. What goes for one goes for many. It goes for the all. So what people run into is that when they wake up and they just feel like, they don't want to be here anymore, or, they've had enough. You have to honor that, because that is a falsehood if you don't. You're playing pretend games. You're thinking one way, but your mouth is saying something else. And that's why you have so many phony people in this world. This is why I tell you, you should never tell anybody your dreams, about your dreams or your intentions, until they're realized, because even though people are like, oh yeah, I wish you the best, many blessings, it's going to work out fine. Privately, that's not what they're thinking. 9 times out of 10, they're like, I hope they fail, because those people were too afraid to do what you're doing. So it's the envy, jealousy, petty, insecure, egocentric nature of these children, these childish minds, that is causing this and generating that, because they don't want to see anybody do good. And they're just too busy feeling sorry for themselves and being phony and not honoring their feelings and respecting their emotions and being in alignment with that. Conflict arises when you attempt to believe that you are not evil or darkness or negative, because you are, because that's what God is. How could you be separate from what source is? Source is the source of all creation. There's no way you can secede from that or separate yourself or disconnect yourself from the very source of all creation. It just cannot be. So that being said, you have to honor your feelings, respect your emotions, cherish these things. They're here for a reason. Also your instincts, your impulses, you have them for a reason. Instinct to survive, instinct to, procreate, whatever it is, they're there. You can't just say, hey, well, I don't have that. I'm not negative. I'm incapable of being negative. That's a lie. This is the reason why you have so many unhappy people. Whenever you start doing that, you're disconnecting from your higher self, because your higher self is it's all veritable energy. It's genuine, always, all the time. So when you start to lie to yourself, you're disconnecting from the only vibration of purity, and you're plugging into something that is the mecca of prevarication. And I wonder what that is. It begins with a capital M. You see where this is going? The reason why you're unhappy is because you're plugged into the matrix and you're disconnected from your higher self, because all the matrix is going to offer you is just evil, satanic garbage. That's it. But you can clearly see their empire of lies is falling apart, even though they're struggling to keep it together. Their time is done. They never had power and they never will. Like I said, if they had any power, they wouldn't have to hide their criminal activities, would they? But nonetheless, you have to honor your feelings and respect your emotions. They're there for a reason. Like one day, if you don't feel good, just go with it. Just allow it to express itself to its fullest potential. And then get to the root cause as to why it is you feel the way you feel about yourself. Get curious as to why it is these things are happening. Address the energy of the whole direct cause of these things. You don't address the side effects of it. You direct your energy towards the root cause. That's exactly how you have to do this. So if you wake up, you're feeling heavy and you're feeling sad or whatever, address it. Now, if you feel that it's not emotional or a physical thing, but you're being bombarded by microwaves and poison that's in the food work in tandem with each other, then that's something else, because that's also what they're doing here. They've been putting poisons in the food for years. America is the only country that has allowed this. If you go to the European Union, they don't put any of the poisons in that. They don't put colors in there, bioengineered food ingredients, artificial, and none of it. It's not in there. None of it's in there. So you know something's up. That also affects your mood heavily. That's the premise. They do. Let me say this to you very, 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 very slowly. The Matrix will do everything, anything possible, everything. Nothing's off the table. Nothing is, beyond their capability of doing it. They will do everything and anything possible to keep you in that low vibrational state. Whether they have to use poisons in the food, working in tandem with microwave towers and whatever else they have that they'll never tell you about, poisoning the water, whatever it is, poisoning the air, poisoning the soil, poisoning the ocean, anything to keep you volatile and violent and angry and short-tempered and negative and miserable and depressed and suicidal and homicidal and all of these things. That's exactly what they intend on doing. That's all they have, because they can't control this. If you start to become enlightened and aware and positive and high vibrational, then it becomes out of their control. Like I said, if you break the third dimensional barrier, you are out of their reach. They can't reach you because reptilians cannot ascend. They're stuck. They are eternal prisoners in that army of nothingness that they run with these unconscious soldiers. I try to impress upon you greatly what this is. You've got to understand what's really going on here. You've been conditioned to believe that you wake up, it's a material world. I make money. Sometimes I see somebody I'm attracted to. We get together. Or you get married, and you have 3.2 children. That's the plan. That's the formula. And that's what you follow, because that's the ground rules they laid way before you got here. And you're supposed to follow the formula, follow the plan, because everybody else is doing it. The way I feel about marriage is, if you want to get married, then do that. But don't do it because society's telling you. A lot of people get divorced because it's not natural for them to stay with one person. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Me personally, I feel that if I find somebody, I stay with them for life. I'm just very dedicated, loyal, devoted to the person that I'm with. Absolutely. So, I don't go by what society says or what they don't. That's just me. I'm always staying with one person no matter what. But anyway, that's just me. But I'm just saying, there's a formula in place long before you got here, and you follow it unconsciously. And that what this causes you is to have these how do I put it, these irrepressible emotions and feelings. It feels like you're abashing yourself. It's like silent reproach. It's like you're trapped in this melancholy, this malaise, languishing, and you don't know what to do. It's like it's an inner turmoil that generates this conflict within you, because now these two energies are running contrary to the other and contrary to each other. What do I mean by that? You have the intrinsic vibrational nature of your soul, which is who you really are. Then you have this facade, this suit, this costume, the mind, the physical mind running the physical suit that's connected to that physical matrix. It's telling you your identity is A, B, and C, but the soul's like, my identity is X, Y, and Z. So therein lies the conflict. Because the mind was like, we've got to fit in, we've got to be like everybody else, we've got to follow the formula, we have to make money and get married, and we have to be successful and all this stuff, and we have to have reputation and notoriety, and we have to be impressing others and all that egotistical nonsense. And the soul is like, no. If you're meant to be with somebody, the universe will align you. And when you find that person, hold on to that person, because, if the universe gives you somebody that's amazing, you're only going to get that shot one time. Don't ruin it. Absolutely not. But you got to understand, the reason why your feelings and emotions are running contrary to what's going on is because you're attempting to force feed yourself something that you're not meant to eat, metaphorically speaking, even sometimes physically, the poison in the food they're feeding you. That's why I always encourage you, read your labels. Stop being in a rush. Stop running out of your car at 900 miles an hour. Stop running in the grocery store like you're running a foot race, for God's sake, because it's ridiculous. Read your labels. Take the box or the package or the container and turn it around and actually put your glasses on and read the label from top to bottom. And then if you can't identify something, get your phone. When you see anything that says gum, xanthian gum, locust bean gum, guar gum, all that garbage, those are emulsifiers, which cause inflammation, Crohn's disease, all kinds of garbage, man. And that's a fact. You go look it up online. That's a medical fact. I'm not making it up, and it's not my opinion. And they're putting that stuff in the food, natural flavors, is not natural at all. Artificial sweeteners, artificial ingredients, synthetic, it's all poison. It's all poison. Genetically modified organisms, all the fruits and vegetables are all poisonous. They're not good for you, And this is another reason why you feel out of kilter. The way that God intended it was for you to come here and live off the land. No herbicides or pesticides or poison sprayed all over the crops. Free, clean, clear, healthy. That's the intent of Source. Everything for your benefit, absolutely. No side effects, no direct effects. Free, clean, exactly the way God has intended it. But this system is run by creatures, reptilian creatures. They don't want that. They don't want you to be physically healthy. They don't want you to be mentally healthy. They don't want you to be spiritually healthy. They don't want you to be metaphysically healthy. They don't want you to have a high vibration because it doesn't serve their interest for you to do that. Because then they can't control an individual who's vibrating high. They can control an individual who is vibrating low, who's no longer an individual, but an assimilated clone, a programmed ego drone that I call them. This is what I refer to as the postmodern mind, the industrialized mentality, the linear, lateral, holographic, polarized mentality with a perceptive lens of duality run by the ego. That's why you get up and you have to compete against everybody. I've got to get that job. I have to win at any and all costs. And then you have to compare yourself to others. Oh, I have to look better than that person. That's all a system. And then you feel that you're ostracized if you don't, made a pariah. And then you're hard on yourself. It's the fear of being ridiculed, inferiority complexes, self-conscious inhibitions. This just goes on and on. And this all feeds into why you have this internal turmoil that results in conflict that arises within you because you can't suppress it anymore. Because your soul is going, yo, this is not for us. This is unnatural. You're trying to force feed us something that we're not meant to be consuming here, especially social media. That content is just straight out poison. So, I'm just trying to say, when you wake up and you have these mixed feelings and emotions, that's because where you're getting your information from is conflicting. It's conflicting information, which generates mixed feelings and emotions. It's mixed messages. If you go to one website or one video and says, okay, da-da-da-da-da, and then, oh, okay, that's the way it is, and then you go to another one, they're saying something opposite, then you start to take all this in, then your brain is jumbled. It leaves you lost, and that's the intent of the system. They don't want you to find yourself inside yourself. They want you always to forever be lost. That's why they always give you the wrong directions in life. I hope I can't be any clearer than this. The moment you come to this world, they lie to you. That's like, back in the old days, before we had GPS and phones, you pull up along the sidewalk and say, excuse me, could you tell me where such and such street is? Oh, yeah, you go 3 blocks down, 2 blocks over, you're going to see a gas station on the right. It's right across the street. Oh, yeah, thank you. That's how we found our way. Now imagine you do that with somebody. Say, excuse me, sir, could you tell me where 1542 Front Street is? Oh, yeah, you got to get back up on the highway and go down 25 miles. And he's giving you wrong directions. Of course you're going to be lost. He's deliberately giving you the wrong directions to intentionally cause you to become lost. And that's what they do the moment you come to this world. And that's why you have all this conflict. And you can't resolve it because you don't know how to. Because you're not tapped into your awareness or your higher potential because they didn't make you aware of that. So you have to understand you could transmute anything into anything else you desire. You just have to be aware of the fact that you have the capability and you have to learn how to use it and apply it. But you don't. How do you access this celestial treasure that you've been carrying for all of eternity? It's easy. Just become aware of it. Become aware that that is who you are, not this suit, not this character, not this role you play in this game called life. And that's why you have mixed feelings and emotions, and they're just constant turmoil, and they conflict with each other because you're not acknowledging them. You're pretending as if they don't exist because you want to put on a phony happy face, for society to make everybody think that you have your life all together when it's not that way inside. The universe recognizes you being disingenuous, man. You're fitting into the false identity. That's why people color their hair and they color their God knows what, and they have blue eye contact so they can make their eyes look blue or green. Plastic surgery, wigs, weaves, extensions. Phony nails, phony everything. They got fake nails, fake hair, fake teeth, fake eyes, plastic surgery, and they're looking for somebody who's real. I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous. It's just absurd. Breast implants. The thing with that makes me sick is that God creates beauty and perfection. God doesn't make mistakes. And I see all of these women wearing wigs and weaves and extensions with fake nails and fake eyes and fake hair, and because they don't have any sense of self-worth or self-love, because their identity has been surrendered over to a definition of what your society wants you to believe beauty is. These magazine models that are photoshopped to death. So this is why these little girls are so lost, because the system is deliberately making them that way through brainwashing and manipulation programs. God doesn't make mistakes. I see all of these women with wigs and weaves and extensions, particularly black women. I don't see too many black women with their real hair. They want white lady hair. Why is that? Because society said this is what beauty is, and you're not beautiful if you look like that, but you are beautiful. So you have to strive for this. And unfortunately they fall for the bait. They fall for it. And these are the people that profess all this religious ideology and Jesus loves you. And you can see in the video, they're wearing a wig or a weave or an extension. It's just sad. It's totally sad. They don't have the intestinal fortitude to be themselves. So they have to hide behind this social facade because that's what's socially acceptable in order to allow them to fit into a society that could care less if they drop dead or not. You see how sick and insane this cyclical pattern of lunacy is. And then you wonder why it is when you wake up, your feelings and emotions, you're just battling each other. And then you're not honoring them or respecting them. You're pretending as if they don't exist. And that's where your internal turmoil comes from. Your internal turmoil comes from that. It's generated from that. It's where conflict arises inside you. That's why you battle yourself. That's why you don't have any stability or any harmony in your life, because there is no peace that was created. So therefore, if there's no peace created, there's no peace to be found. Like I said, live in peace, not in pieces. And many people are existing in pieces, pretending that they're at peace, lying to themselves, but they're certainly not lying to the eyes of God. So anyway, let me just cut this video short by saying, whatever your feelings and emotions are, honor them, respect them, cherish them for what they are in those moments. And if it's something that you feel is detrimental or unhealthy, address the root cause. Get to work on making it not do that anymore, whatever that is. And if you don't know, just ask your guardians and guides and angels. Open up your intuitive passage. This is your precognitive intuition. This is what allows you to have direct access to the universe. You're not going to find it online. You're going to find it inside yourself. This is one of the many benefits of you connecting to your higher self, because you will receive intuitive guidance from your higher self telepathically that will give you instructions, support, directions, guidance, wisdom, knowledge. I mean, everything you need, all of it. Healing, light language that helps you. Everything you need in order to recorrect, and redirect your energies into a higher vibrational path of betterment and healing and light, instead of waking up feeling sorry for yourself, repeating that pattern and driving yourself lower into the vibrational fields of lunacy, because that's where this system wants to keep you. So anyway, have yourselves a blessed day. I wish you the very best. Remember, you are always loved and you are never alone, and you have to stop being so hard on yourself. You're not perfect. Nobody is. Stop striving for something that doesn't exist. Practice breeds proficiency. Practice at being happy if it doesn't come natural to you, because perfection does not exist. You're chasing an elusive mythological creature. It doesn't exist. And that's another thing they're good at doing. They make you chase things that were never created and never will be, because they don't exist. They get you to refer to your greatest power as imaginary. That's why you call it your imagination, which you should stop doing. And they get you to chase these elusive dreams that just don't exist. These are pipe dreams. You will never be perfect. And you're never going to fit in with everybody. No matter how good you are, there's going to be people out there that will not like you for some reason or another. That's why people pleasing is an exercise in futility, and it makes you a slave to the system. But anyway, peace to you always. Have a blessed day, and just do the inner work. Trust me. You'll be very, very happy you did.